Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious. Today is March 8th, 2024, and it is International Women's Month. And this is International Women's Day celebrated around the world. And we're going to celebrate with you here with a lot of lady astronauts that we're going to talk about. And we went out and saw one today, Canadian astronaut Julie Payette, the former Governor General of their country, and a completely charming and engaging lady that we become quickly a fan favorite out there. Marty, I'm looking at him with some consternation. Are we doing okay?
I'm not sure we're live. Gotta go check.
Okay, he's going to go check and see if we are live. I'm going to assume we are. And let you know that beautiful Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex behind me today as I went out there to see Miss Julie Payette. A lot of us get autographs and enjoy the astronaut encounter out there by the Delaware North organization that runs Kennedy Visitors Complex, and thank you for the help that they give us. We want to remind everybody that tomorrow we're going to talk about today, International Women's Day. And there's some of the beautiful women in our space program right now, all of them active astronauts. We'll share some of the Artemis astronauts with us there. And Janet Epps there in the middle. She is on the space station right now. 3 American women on the space station. We're going to check that out. And of course, we've got a charity auction this Saturday, noon to 5 p.m. That's tomorrow. Hit that QR code and you'll go to 360 lots that you can own a real rocket engine. Marty just gave me the thumbs up here that he's going to bid $100,000 on that rocket engine.
Yeah, no comments.
And okay, we've got no comments rolling in there. Just give Marty a shout out there to let everybody know that our Streamlabs program's working fine here. But you never know. That's what we enjoy about doing episode 1004 or 5 now under the books here, Marty. But charity auctions are very important to us. Chuck Jeffrey, our collection analyst and board member, has been doing these and keeping our museum seriously afloat by the income off of this. Some of it's consigned by space workers like you, and you get a big chunk of it, and we get a little piece of it, and the auction house gets another piece of it, of course. Bid Again Auctions has done us right over the years, and we're proud that we can offer this great memorabilia to good collectors like yourselves, from astronaut autographs to signed crew signed photographs of the shuttle era. So it's about a minute an item, a lot to be sold. So 360 lots, yes, that's going to be about 360 minutes or somewhere around 6 hours. So you're just interested in the shuttle stuff, you know it won't be up for another 3 hours after the start of the event. So download the app. Directions of that are on our website, and you will enjoy a great Saturday like I am, watching space memorabilia being sold to help the American Space Museum. We've also got Shuttle Fest 3 full bore. We're trying to get some astronauts committed, but we've got some great space workers talking about 4 astronomy missions that were more than just astronomy missions. The Astro 1 and 2, the Ulysses and Galileo space probes had some complications that had to be solved on the ground that had nothing to do with the spacecraft or the astronomy, and therefore new ways of doing things were created in the shuttle. Technicians and engineers that did that will be at this love fest that we call Shuttle Fest every year to honor the space worker. National Space Society is a partner. Hyatt Place, of course, Bid Again Auctions, and Ken Havicott Memorabilia and Postal Covers is a good supporter of us. So, all right, we've got Hyatt. There's a beautiful picture of Hyatt Place there. And let's talk about the shuttles of the month of March just very briefly. We had 59 human beings launched in the month of March. 8 of them were women. All of the 4 of the 5 orbiters were launched during the month of these 10 missions. And we're just going to highlight one of them today to stay on board with the theme of the shuttle missions that we so enjoy and want to constantly tell you about. This is the first exchange of the International Space Station as we're getting ready for 4 people to leave the International Space Station this weekend. Give Marty a shout out there if you know the exact time. I think it's Monday morning now when they're coming back, somewhere in the middle of the night, Sunday night, Monday morning. But for the first exchange was the 2 cosmonauts and Bill Shepard there on the left with 2 Americans and a cosmonaut, and the 4 astronauts of STS-102 took them up. So it's 23 years ago that the first swap of the International Space Station happened, when 5 veterans and 2 rookies spent 13 days in space, most of it docked to the primitive International Space Station. Looked nothing like that up above up there. It was Jim Weatherby on his 5th of 6 flights. All right, he was 5 times a commander. Jim Vegas Kelly was the pilot. Andy Thomas, 3rd of 4 flights, was the crew of 114 Discovery, and they took up with them. They took up Yusevich, Susan Helms, and Jim Voss. Okay. Were taken up for Expedition 2 began. All right, so Expedition 1, they came back, Bill Shepard on his 4th and last flight, and Russians Yuri Gidzo and Sergei Krikalev, very experienced Russian flyers there at the time, each making their 2nd flight. So very historic to look back in 2021, 2001, I mean, 23 years ago, when the first swap out of crews on the International Space Station occurred. So there's the launch from the press site there. I believe that's a Mark Usiak photograph on a beautiful morning launch of the space shuttle Discovery on one of its 39 missions to space there. That was a long mission, 13 days for a shuttle on there, and they took up the Leonardo Logistics Lab up there too with them. So who's in space right now? Marty, I asked somebody if they know when the crew 7's coming back. I'm guessing by what I glanced at. Can't find that stuff too easily sometimes, but I went to the wrong app. I think it's Sunday night, Monday morning. So somebody may chime in there, but right now 14 human beings are off Earth. These Earthlings are 3 Chinese in their own space station on the International Space Station, getting ready to depart. Our crew 7, we'll talk about, which is Jasmine Magoli, pilot Andreas Morgensen, Satasha Furukawa, and Konstantin Borisov. They've been up there about 198 days. 3 American women are orbiting the Earth, Marty. 2 American men, a Japanese astronaut, Furukawa, one of their most experienced, and a Danish astronaut. So there they all are the other day. Up there, the Expedition 70 crews in their red shirts. The crew 8 is in the blue shirts there. That includes, left to right, Jeanette Epps. She waited a long time to fly, okay? Almost 15 years she waited to fly. She was in the 2009 class. So, do 15 she's waited to go to space. We'll talk about her in a few minutes, featuring her in our International Women Day. Commander Matthew Dominic is on the far right, and in the middle is Michael Barrett, and Alexandria Grebenkin is the Russian rookie beside arms folded Barrett. He's been to space twice before, actually rode a Soyuz and a shuttle, and now he's like a handful of men that have been in 3 different spaceships. These are the first U.S. men in space since September 2023. All right, think about that and how men dominated, particularly Caucasian men dominated space for decades. And we've just gone through a 6-month period where there were no American males in space. We had 2 women, Jasmine Mogali, and you've got Laurel O'Hara up there in the back, have been up there and joined now by Janet Epps. So men outnumber the women up there, Marty. There is, we're going to talk about Janet Epps. She was born on a wonderful day, Marty, November 3rd, 1970. That's my birthday, not 1970, I wish. But born in Syracuse, New York, educated at Lamoille College and University of Maryland. She has a twin sister. Okay, that's always interesting to know things like that. She got chosen as an astronaut in 2009 and was actually going to go to space and train with the Russians. There's the Crew 8 there. We just talked about them. They're going to be up there for getting ready to spend about 6 months up there doing their science as the 71st expedition. We told you 23 years ago we exchanged out Expedition 1 and 2. There's beautiful Jeanette Epps there, selected as an astronaut and later qualified in 2011 after being an ASCAN, I guess. ASCAN, they call them. She was a cave explorer with fellow NASA astronaut Jessica Meir. We'll talk about her. She was going to go to Expedition 56, but something happened in her life in a personal matter, and she got pulled from that mission, and Serena Anand-Chancellor went up in her stead and didn't dig into astronauts' personal lives too much. It could have been anything that she had to derail from a parent being ill to other things going on. But I assure you it wasn't because she was scared to go to space, because she waited from 2018 to now, 4 years later, 6 years later, to go to the International Space Station. And she's up there fulfilling her dream and representing women as well as African American women that can do whatever they want to do in space or anything in society there. So honoring Janet Epps, our newest female astronaut in space on the International Space Station. So we wanted to talk about, there's Crew 7 that's coming back. All right, they've been up there 198 days. Marty, anybody chimed in when that return is going to be? Have you read anything?
No, nobody's responding. I looked it up, and they're not giving a time or a date. They're still
I saw March 11th, and that's Monday. So I'm thinking maybe after just one thing I glanced at. So, but for sure they'll be coming back soon. And Furukawa will have about 365 days in space over his 3 missions. He's one that's been in a Soyuz, a shuttle, and now a crew spacecraft there. All right, Marty, just a little blast in the past. We can't forget about your LEM number 3 that 55 years ago today was discarded after proving its worthiness by Jim McDivitt, David Scott, and Rusty Schweikert. We have this patch here to remind you something about space history, Marty. These are the 2 patches we have in our auction that you can buy. The one on the left's worth at least $200. It's a rare light blue that was seen. Rusty was wearing it on a Guadalcanal Apollo 15 recovery mission when he was a backup to that. And the vintage Apollo 9 on the right there is worth $100 all day long. So that's our way of saying, Marty, remember what the Walkman was? The Walkman music device? Well, here's our astronauts in space there in an out-of-focus photo that they had plenty of on the Flickr Apollo Archives reel there. That's just McDivitt in the front and Schweikert in the back. And there is a Walkman, for those of you that don't know. I tried to find one with a cassette tape outside of it, because what you might realize is there's a reel-to-reel square rectangle cassette, they call it, tape that fits inside of that. And the Apollo astronauts, the Apollo 9 astronauts were provided with early versions of the Sony Walkman here in 1969. Portable cassette recorders intended to allow them to make observations during the mission. It was more for them to record their thoughts. But the crew was the first to be allowed to bring music mixtapes, one each, that could be played in that device. McDivitt and Scott preferred easy listening and country music. Schweikert's cassette tape of classical music went missing until the 9th day of the 10-day mission, when it was presented to him by David Scott. So Scott and McDivitt didn't want to hear any classical music, apparently, that the rather cerebral Rusty Schweikert took aboard with him. So a little bit of space trivia there to help you enjoy your Friday afternoon with us on Stay Curious. Well, let's get to some International Women's Day stuff here, Marty. There's could almost name them all across the top there. Megan, there's Stephanie. You got she's the on NASA today. There's Jessica Meir. Not going to take the time because we're going to see all of them here in a minute. But not only do we have the astronauts representing us, Suni Williams above my head. Suni's going to Starliner is going to launch around April 20th with Butch, the commander of Starliner. I want to say Butch, but he's a guy. So we don't care about guys today. We care about the women, and there's two fabulous women. That is the one and only Joanne Morgan, grew up here in Titusville, Florida, and Carolyn Schumacher. Carolyn is the CEO, president of the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation, the one that gives out millions of dollars in scholarships, and celebrating their 40th anniversary. Of course, Joanne Morgan, the first female engineer in the Launch Control Center for Apollo 11. She later broke the glass ceiling in many jobs at KSC, including she was over the Manned Flight Center, I think, at the time that she got it changed to the Human Flight Center on there. But little event I was at, and Carolyn Schumacher doing a great job at the Astronaut Scholarship Foundation with her team. They're getting ready for their Hall of Fame induction. Ceremony's coming up, and I know that Marsha Ivins is being inducted, and I forget the gentleman being inducted, but that's May 30th and the 1st. And we're going to have Carolyn on to talk all about that on May 8th. We booked her at Stay Curious. We tried to get Joanne. She has 8 events here in Women's Month here on the coast, and a couple of places in Houston and around the country. So she begged off. We didn't get her early enough, but she's a great supporter of the American Space Museum, the one and only Joanne Morgan, pride of Titusville, Florida, for what she's done for women, engineers particularly. And there is the lovely Julie Payette, autographing a picture there for, I think, for Bill Whiting today. Took that photograph for her at the astronaut encounter. Forgive us, Nick Thomas, for barging in a little too long there, but she wanted to talk to us a little bit long. So we really enjoy all of the astronaut encounters out there, and they've done an excellent job booking 4 women during the month here. Only Tony Antonelli is the only man that's going to be there, and he's next week. Julie Payette, 2 missions to space. Here she is on the stage promoting today, April 8th, 2024 is International Women's Day. And not just the astronauts, but the space workers, the supporters in so many ways. And Marty, I think you got to throw in there the wives and girlfriends and significant others of astronauts who really go through a lot mentally as their loved ones fulfill their dreams. There you are, buddy. Couldn't leave you out there. You got a few words to say about Julie?
Other than she's great. I mean, she's so personable, so easy to talk to, so friendly, very knowledgeable. She's really I started a list of super astronauts.
Yeah.
She's on my list.
Yeah, she certainly is. And we made our mark as the space geeks here in the community. Just have a lot of fun times with her. We're trying to effort her, of course, to talk on Stay Curious. She signed a Snoopy poster for us for the museum that we'll be auctioning off. And she's just, any age level, she just engages you and makes the kids feel really nice. She'll be out there for 5 days and through Monday. Marty, I don't know. if you're local, till Sunday or Monday?
Sunday, I think.
Okay. And so if you're local out there, go out there to the Space Center, and it's worth the price of the admission just to go in the astronaut encounter at 11 o'clock or 3:45 they do it, and then she autographs. And
You're right, Monday.
okay, so you can see her on Monday too. So they're cranking up with spring break up there, Marty, and you don't want to miss Julie Payette. I also wanted to just say she's a opera singer with the Ottawa Bach Choir. I've been listening to this eclectic music that's like from a church, high church. She won the Juno Award with singing with them, and she speaks 6 languages, plays all kinds of music, and was the Governor General of Canada, basically the Vice President for a few years. So great humble lady doing all that. And that looks beautiful to me, Marty. We see that a lot going out there, and captured a moment when just a couple, a dad and his kids were going across there, and the beautiful International Space Station and the international flags there. And Marty, I see many times tourists go up there to their flag of their nationality and get a picture made in front of that. That's a real popular display out there across from the astronaut encounter. The gift shop, the Mars is to the right, the Rocket Garden, and the Gateway building is to the left. So just a reminder there of the international men and women who get along on the space station and on the ground when they're doing work together that's space related. So let's look a little bit at a couple, got to give some love to the boldness of the Chinese women. Here is Wang Yaping, who's up in space right now. She was the second female astronaut, now on her 3rd mission to space. She hopes that all girls with space dreams guard your vision of going to the sea of stars. One day, before you know it, you will look up, you will see that your dream is already in reach. And she was the first Chinese female to walk in space. So they are boldly announcing to the world in steps they're taking to go to the moon. And Rusty Schweikert, frankly, thinks this is the first woman to walk on the moon and probably beat the Americans there. That's what Rusty told us, Marty, and I'm sticking to it when he was here. Well, there's the first astronaut we're going to highlight, Kayla Barron. Okay, her maiden name was Sachs. She's married, born in Richland, Washington. Here she is on the International Space Station in 2021. 176 days in space. We're going to talk about her in the context of the 9 women of the 18 astronauts, dubbed the Artemis 18. 9 are men, 9 are women, and here's the 9 women. And 3 years ago, only Stephanie Wilson had flown in space. Now, these incredible women have been in space for 3 to 6 months, and I'm going to give you a little insight to each one of them today, because I think it's truly amazing what NASA's done to integrate here, particularly in the last 10 years, this crew of women into the significant knowledge we need to go to the moon and beyond. So here's Kayla. She was up 176 days on SpaceX Crew Dragon 3. She's 36 years old, a Navy lieutenant. She's a ham radio operator. K15LAL is her call sign. She's called Astro Kayla, is her handle in social media. Astro Kayla. But 176 days in space in 2021 on Expedition 66 and 67. Like I said, we're segueing now to Expedition 71. Here's one that you should well know, Christina Cook. Her name is Koch, but it's pronounced Cook. Her maiden name is Hammock. Born in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now that's the home of Jack Lousma, also the home of astronaut Roger Chaffee, who died in the Apollo 1 fire. Jack Lousma, of course, is 88 years old and was a Skylab and then a shuttle commander. She is Astro Christina. She lives in Texas with her husband. 327 days. She holds the continuous record for a female. Okay. She went up on a Soyuz spacecraft, expedition 596061. So she's been back on Earth, and at age 45, she's tapped to go to Artemis 2, and she'll be almost 47 years old when that mission happens. They're saying September 2025 for Artemis 2 at the moment. So a very experienced spacewalker. She and Christina Cook and Jessica Meir did the first all-woman spacewalk, and they did it 3 times in 2019. So she and Jessica Meir are very close. They spent 6 months in Antarctica together. And here is Anne McLean, 204 days in space. She went up on a Soyuz spacecraft in 2018. That was before the SpaceX started taking them up there. Expedition 58 and 59. She's an Army colonel and a Bachelor of Science at West Point. She's a CrossFit trainer, loves weightlifting. Her nickname is Animal. Okay, she's Astro Animal with 2 N's, ANNIMAL, in her social media. Born in Spokane, Washington. Okay, so who else was Washington? That was Kayla Barron's from Richland, Washington. There, so that's pretty coincidental. She's test pilot school and 200 some days in space. Now Nicole Mann was born Nicole Anapu in Petaluma, California. All right, she's a U.S. Marine, Marty. Hoorah! That's why her name badge there is red and gold. She was the commander of Crew 5. All right, the first female commander of the. No, I think Peggy Whitson may have beat her, but she spent 158 days in space. Okay, and on SpaceX 5 as the commander there. She's 46, so she's very much in the play as a commander to be on the Artemis 3 moon landing, if that's what happens. Her nickname is Duke, and Astro Duke is her handle. There's Jessica Meir, who I was talking about. Her maiden name is Ulrika. Okay, Ulrika. She's born in Caribou, Maine, as Jessica Ulrika. She's married to a gentleman named Meir. Astro Jessica is her handle. Bachelor of Arts in Biology from Brown University. She's an oceanographer. 205 days in space, 3 spacewalks. She went up on a Soyuz spacecraft on Expedition 61 and 62. She's had extensive training in geology. She participated in the first all-woman spacewalk with Christina Cook in Expedition 61, 62. And they spent a lot of time in Antarctica together. And this is my choice, Marty, to be the first woman on the moon. First American woman on the moon, Jessica Meir. But this one's also, I think, very close running. Kate Rubens from Farmington, California, but grew up in Napa, California. She's 45 now. She 300 days in space, 4 EVAs. Now, she went on 2 separate missions. Expedition 48-49 on a Soyuz spacecraft in 2006, and then 16, and then 4 years later, she was on another Soyuz rocket and spaceship on Expedition 63 and 64. So 2 flights from Baikonur Cosmodrome, and she captured the SpaceX Dragon resupply mission, the first time anyone had done that, when it's resupplied the space station. So this is a good one also, I think, to keep your eye on too. Kate Rubens as the first woman on the moon. She's been up twice. She could be training for that now. She'd be 47, 48 years old. A lot of these women, if we don't land, let's say, on the moon a reasonable time, 4 years, they're all going to be late 40s or 50 years old. Not a bad thing to have that kind of experience going on there. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, Peach Fuzz. There we go. To Jessica Watkins, another African American that's gone to space recently on Expedition 67 and 68. She was on SpaceX Dragon 4 from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Any of you around there? But she grew up in Lafayette, Colorado, and she's a brainiac. She went to Stanford University, has a doctorate in geology. Okay, from the University of California. And I've been told that she might have the inside track to be the first woman on the moon. And then she'd also be the first person of color on the moon. Because she's been working with Mars soil simulations for decades, particularly with the Phoenix lander mission on Mars. She was a participant in the Mars Desert Research Station, meaning she stayed in a habitat simulating that she was on Mars. So Jessica Watkins, another Artemis astronaut that spent 171 days in space already, and a good candidate to go to the moon. Stephanie Wilson's 57. Now she'd be pushing 60 for an Artemis mission, but she spent 42 days in space on 3 space shuttle missions. She's not gone to space since 2010 with STS-131. She was also on 121 and 120. Another very smart lady, a Harvard graduate, worked for Martin Marietta in their astronautics group. A load and dynamics engineer, worked on reaction control thrusters on the Galileo Jupiter spacecraft. And then had 3 flights, including the return to flight STS-121. That was really the second return to flight after 114, because 114 got grounded for a year for some of the anomalies on it. So 121 was another return to flight that Stephanie Wilson was on. So I think she'd be a good commander on the lunar outpost as I assemble my team. And finally, the 9th Artemis astronaut, one of these ladies is going to be in infamy as the first woman to walk on the moon from America, and hope she's the first one overall. This is Jasmine Moghbeli, Moghbeli, Jasmine Moghbeli. She is from Baldwin, New York, but she was born in West Germany of Tehran immigrants, so she's an American Persian descent. Of course, Marty, she's got the red and gold badge there. That means she's URA, a U.S. Marine, a lieutenant colonel. She is an expert at these attack helicopters. Oh my gosh, what kind of skills and guts does it take to be flying these incredible Marine light attack helicopter, Squadron 368, just all the resume just filled with everything that a Marine would want to do in helicopters. So she will have now like 198 days in space when she commands the landing of the spacecraft, Enterprise, I think it's called. Endeavour just docked. So, and she'll be ready to go to space again. She's married to Sam Wald, and they have twin daughters, Marty. How about that? So she is 40 years old now. So she is big in play, age-wise and now experience-wise, to be part of that Artemis assault on the moon when that happens. So hope you've enjoyed looking at our Artemis women, who will be the first on the moon. A good way to talk about International Women's Day today, March 8th. But like Julie Payette pointed out to the crowd today, Marty, you heard what she said, right?
I heard everything she said.
Well, she said every day is Women's Day, okay? And Man's Day is the Super Bowl, I guess. I don't know. It's International Men's Day. But anyway, we're pleased that you're with us to celebrate some awesome women in space. You got a question or comment, Marty?
I have a comment, Mark. I'm just concerned in case there's any other Marines listening and they would not want me to let you get away with saying Marine colors are red and gold. It's scarlet and gold.
Oh, well, I like that. Thank you. Well, that reminds me of Scarlet and Gray, Dave Stange. That's Scarlet and Gray. That's the Ohio State colors. So I will never make that error again, Marty, in your behalf. Look at that beautiful rocket garden out there. They do such a good job of keeping everybody clean out there and safe. And they've got some big plans to build a new building out there. It was in the newspaper today. We'll hear about that later on. So everybody remember, you're going to lose an hour of sleep Saturday night. So sleep in tonight, okay? Don't set your alarm, get up. It's Saturday. Just sleep in and get that extra couple hours of sleep, because it's a 23-hour day Sunday as we jump forward to daylight saving time. There's no S on that savings. It's saving time. And Marty, you know who invented that, or one of the first people that suggests that, daylight saving time?
Yeah.
He is on the C note. Ben Franklin. Isn't Ben Franklin on the $100 bill? I haven't held one in a while. Have you?
No, I haven't either. So,
All right. I had
That
long
sounds
enough
right,
to look
okay.
at it anyway. So anyway, yes, Ben Franklin proposed this back in the old 1780s, all right? And you gardeners and people that love the outdoors, and I do too, you can now go home and relax a little bit in your favorite lawn chair, getting a little bit of sunlight. Yeah, Marty.
And Ben Franklin also wanted a turkey to be the U.S. bird.
He did,
That-
didn't he? Yes, fascinating guy, Ben Franklin. I can't imagine he didn't get into telescopes in a big way, as playing around with that lightning and all, and a kite. So, all right, well, everybody, really appreciate you watching our Stay Curious program today. Another reminder that please support our museum and buy some space memorabilia. We are promoting it as active as we can. You never know in today's financial economic times what is worth in value, but space memorabilia is. You can own some Mylar that was on Apollo 17 that Marty is offering for sale there. You can own that engine for $100,000 and impress your friends. Or you can own that Snoopy poster on the left, a banner, that green Snoopy banner. That is a relic from the 55 years ago and is worth every bit of $400 or $500 because we've never seen one before. So check it out. Bid now. You can preview the auction by going to our website or hitting that QR code there. And we appreciate all of our support from everybody out there. So Marty, thank you for another great Streamlabs week there. I'm going to take that off of there and let everybody know that we hope that they can find their way to come to the American Space Museum. Dave Stange is going to be coming down for our Shuttle Fest 3. This is our third one. We promise you, as we get more momentum as the years go by, astronauts will be wanting to come to this and be feeling left out, because I'm working on Shuttle Fest 4 already. And it just takes our small staff here. We're doing the best we can with all of our resources, and a lot of us have other duties to do too. So we're looking forward to seeing you in our museum and participating in some of our events. If not, drop us a line or drop us a $100 bill there down at the bottom of this YouTube once it loads up, or one of those old ones. They've got a little thanks with a $sign tab there. So until next time, Marty, thank you for a great job in all you do. And thank you to our executive director, Karan Conklin, for keeping the rudder in the ship going in this direction. I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you next time to bridge the space between us.